Hi, I'm Andrea Rusing from Lantern Restaurant in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Want to welcome you to this incredible day of this conference that's focused on hunger in North Carolina. It's an issue that's really important to all of us here at our restaurant and the whole restaurant community in North Carolina. We're going to make a really tasty dip made from carrots and sesame and a bunch of different aromatic spices. But first, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what kind of happened in our restaurant, the restaurant community at large in North Carolina when COVID happened last March. So we closed immediately, kind of around, I think around the 15th or 18th of March. And pretty soon after that, just a couple weeks, we were lucky enough to be able to join forces with Bull City Schools, Food Insight Group, Durham Public Schools, and that's Jim Keaton, the awesome nutrition director in Durham, Megan Smith-Gonzalez at Bull City Schools, and Dr. Lyndon Thayer at Food Insight Group. And we, with a bunch of different partners, started kind of gathering ideas about how we could start to get some food to kids in Durham who were missing the meals that they would have eaten at school. So about 27 restaurants and caterers joined this effort. At the peak of the program, which was called NC Feast, we were feeding we were making about 70,000 meals a week. This effort morphed into the current work, which is called Eat and See, and that is a project that's also based in Durham, and it's a partnership between Durham County, Food Insight Group, a bunch of different restaurants, and a bunch of different partners. And that has kind of allowed us to do lots of different meals. We're doing meals for seniors, we're doing frozen casseroles for families using fresh local ingredients. We're making ingredient boxes where we kind of provide like some simple fun recipes and then a bunch of the different components for those recipes. So again, like, restaurants across North Carolina are really engaged in this work and really want to be as supportive to the hunger community as we possibly can. So I look forward to hearing about this conference and what y'all are up to, and we're going to start making this carrot dip. So you're going to have the recipe, so I don't really need to talk amounts too much. But basically, you just need some nice carrots. You don't have to peel them, which is great because we're going to puree them. I think the recipe that you're going to have is for about a pound. This recipe scales up really, really easily. And so you're just going to chop them up. Can you see that I'm losing these? Come back. Into just little rounds, roughly the same size, so when they're cooking, they cook around the same. It takes around the same amount of time for all of them to become tender. And we're gonna add some garlic. I know you guys know how to do this, but I like to do, if I'm doing a lot especially, I might go like this. That's not hard enough. Let's see, what do we have? You can use the bottom of a pan, like a skillet or a frying pan. Or if you've got a particularly hard-headed person in your life, you can employ them. You can really put as much as you want in terms of the garlic. We're going to cook this for a little bit less, maybe about a third of the amount of time that it takes the carrots. And so, same thing. Ooh, this is good. This is extremely heavy. So easy when you have the right tool. That's what they say. So I'm just going to peel this garlic. Some of the other partners that have been involved in this work are Happy Dirt, which was formerly Eastern Carolina Organics, and Farmer Food Share. They've allowed us to get really good prices on awesome local produce like rutabagas and sweet potatoes and collards and onions, and then also some exotic, really delicious organic citrus from California and South Carolina and Georgia. Also really great North Carolina apples. Okay, I'm just gonna do a little more. Again, like a cast iron skillet works really well. A super heavy like mason jar can be really good. So this is what I'm gonna cook. This is my ratio. You can really do any ratio you want. First, we're gonna simmer the carrots in a little lightly salted water. And when the carrots are still really al dente, like about halfway cooked, you can just throw the garlic in and simmer that as well. I've always wanted to do this. Through the magic of this small screen, Lydia, who you can't see but is producing this whole affair, made these for us, and the garlic is actually mixed in here. So when you drain your carrots, you want to save the liquid because it's super flavorful, it tastes like carrots, and we're going to use a little bit of it when we make the dip. Okay, you can do this in a Cuisinart, you can do this with a potato masher, you can do it in a mixing bowl with a big, very stiff whisk. You could do it in like a food processor, a Cuisinart. Depending on how your motor is, you might need more or less liquid. This is a VitaPrep. It's kind of like a fancy, very kind of industrial restaurant blender, but this stick really helps. But you don't need this at all. I'm just using it because the extension cord was long enough to get it over here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this maybe half at a time. Actually, I think I can do it all. But you probably, if you have a smaller blender, you might want to just work in batches. It'll be easier. So, it smells delicious. I'm going to go ahead and put the seasonings in now because you're going to have a recipe. You're going to know exactly how much you're putting in, so you're not going to really have to taste it as you go too much. I'm going to do some lemon juice. This is how I do lemons. It's kind of lazy. It's not good if you have cuts on your fingers, but it really like gets the job done. It's pretty fast. I like it lemony. You can use any kind of oil in this. This is olive oil. Safflower is good too. This is tahini. It's roasted sesame seeds with oil. We made this ourselves. You can make it yourself or you can buy it. It's got a little in there. Salt. Are there any dietitians there today? Close your eyes. I'm just kidding. I think one of the most interesting things that we found in this whole cooking situation, cooking sometimes for USDA regulations, sometimes just for different dietary purposes, is if you're not using processed food, it's really actually pretty easy to use kind of like whole ingredients. You still have a lot of room to add salt and fat, so that's been a really great discovery. So I've got cinnamon, coriander, cumin, and some mild chili. You could use paprika. And this is like a teeny bit of citric acid, not necessary, but we use it just to kind of create a lot of kind of puckery acid without too much lemon flavor. So I think that's pretty much it. Ta-da! You want it to have a nice texture, a little chunky still. And then mine is pretty thick because I didn't use much liquid because I have this fancy blender. Yours might be a little thinner. It'll definitely thicken up in the refrigerator. And this is not spicy, but it has like a very appealing flavor. I've never seen a kid not eat this, even my own children. Really, I've never seen anybody not enjoy this. So you can serve it with pita, you can serve it with crackers, with vegetables. It's really good with pickles. It's great. Thanks so much. Hope to see you all soon in person.